we've got the best out of this stadium now. We've got, it's a difficult site to operate in the middle of a very high density residential area.
Yeah.
And since I came here 19 years ago, believe it or not, I've always said that ultimately I'd like to move the stadium to a new purpose-built stadium somewhere in Medway.
Yeah.
And that remains the goal. It's not a 5-minute job. It's not an easy task. And there are a lot of stakeholders that have to be brought along to allow that to happen. But we've, steadily and consistently moved forward on it.
Yeah.
We do have a potential site now at Mill Hill, which we're working on, and we have put submissions into the council talking about that site, and we will work through the process. I mean, I think Medway Council will accept also. They've been very helpful. We've looked at sites together. We've evaluated sites, and I think the general consensus is that Mill Hill probably is the ultimate and only site that is appropriate for a stadium in Medway. Albeit it's not a straightforward matter insofar as planning is concerned. I don't think anyone who's built a stadium nationally has had an easy time. When I say that, I don't mean that there are people making it difficult. I just think that processes have to be followed, and until you follow those processes, it's a multi-party decision, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't think it's, if you had a site, you can't just build a stadium. There's a lot of things to be taken into account: transportation, safety, topographical decisions, etc. So those are the processes we have to go through, and those are the processes we're exploring at the moment.
How much do you think it's going to all cost for a new stadium?
I think probably around about 30 million, between 30 and 40 million. But that's what a stadium with all the facilities is going to cost, and that has to be found and marketed properly. But I do think that history tells us that any club that's built, or any city or town that's built a new football stadium, has had an uplift in all areas. I think it tends to generate a whole new level of support.
Yeah.
And I just think that we've made the most of this site. We've got a lovely little stadium here, but it is fraught with complications, and always has been, and always will be whilst it's in a residential area such as it is. This would be part of the funding package that will go towards a new stadium. So this is an asset to the club. It's owned by the football club, and I suspect it would most be used for residential to create a value, which would be ploughed into the new stadium, of course. From when I first came to the club, I saw that there was no long-term future for the club at Priestfield Stadium if it wanted to go forward. I know it can go forward in this stadium, but if it was in the Premiership, as an example, and you look at the likes of Blackpool, Wigan, Hull, and clubs like that were in our division not so long ago, there's no reason why we couldn't get into the Premiership at some stage, and that would be our ultimate aim. And if it's in my lifetime, so well and good. And this would be totally inadequate for a Premiership football club, and probably even for a Championship football club, if you're going to be really challenging.